All right, welcome back. So Joe Biden turned the Trump boom into a Bidenomics bust, but Mr. Biden keeps blaming President Trump. Go figure. So let's talk about this and a few other things. We welcome back to the show the great Byron Donalds, Florida congressman. Byron Donalds, welcome to the show. First of all, here's what President Trump said in our interview yesterday. If you could just listen to this sound for one moment.
It's a disgrace. We had the greatest economy in history. We then got hit by the pandemic, and then all those jobs were coming back, and we had them back. All of those jobs that we created at a level that nobody's ever seen before, they were all coming back. They were pouring back. And for him to make the statement, I mean, here's one number. The mortgage rate's almost at 8%. And you know, they don't say there's one other thing. You can't get a mortgage. I mean, aside from the 8, you can't. People aren't able to get a mortgage. And we had it down to 2.65, even lower than that. Our gasoline price, you know, the gasoline price is at around $2. We actually had it down much lower than that for a big portion of time. No, we were doing a fantastic job.
All right, there you have it. So, Byron, you're a money guy. You're a financial guy. You know this stuff, Cole. We've got a couple of tables just to throw up, and I'm told you can see the tables. First of all, on jobs created, first 30 months, Trump 4.9 million, Joe Biden 2.1 million. And manufacturing jobs, Trump 454,000, Biden half, 204,000. And then the mortgage rate, 265 under Trump, it's now 7.5% and rising if you can get a mortgage. And one other thing, Congressman, I don't know if you can see this, the inflation chart, CPI has gone up 17%. 30 months of Joe Biden. Under Mr. Trump, it was only 6%. The average annual rate, this is the killer, so far Biden 7.4% at an annual rate, Trump 1.9%. And then Trump groceries 2%, Biden plus 20. And gasoline, about $3.87 today, AAA nationwide. Mr. Trump's was down just above $2. I mean, I guess you and I have talked to, it's a mystery to me how Biden can blame Trump and say, I was right and he was wrong. I don't get it.
Well, look, Joe Biden lies. This is what he does. First and foremost, Larry, you go back to those charts. The thing that's most devastating, the mortgage rate, obviously, 7.5, conversely to 2.6, 2.7 under Donald Trump. But the 20% increase in groceries, who's paying that? Poor people pay it. Working families pay it. Blue-collar workers pay it. Suburban moms pay it. They're the ones that are struggling under Joe Biden's economy. That's why it's been a disaster. And he runs around talking about all the jobs he created. This is the same president who tried to get people fired if they didn't take the COVID vaccine shot. This is the same party that kept our economy closed far longer than it should have been. Joe Biden, when he came in the office, the only thing he needed to do was just go to vacation and do nothing, because the building blocks that were set in place by President Trump were going to bring America back, and he has destroyed our American economy. He's been a disaster when it comes to economic leadership.
You know, Byron, I was just thinking as you were talking, for middle-class folks, for lower middle-class folks, and for those at the lower end who are trying to climb the ladder up, what you're saying, first of all, the mortgage rate is important. Second of all, the price of gasoline is important. And third of all, the groceries. And those have been killers. I mean, again, groceries up 20%. Gasoline, $3.87. It's not quite twice as much as what it was, but it's almost twice as much. And these interest rates, I mean, everybody's subject to these interest rates. Biden talks about, what does he say, building out the middle class, Byron? These are killers for the middle class.
100%, they are killers. Because, and let me break this real simple. When you're coming out of college, you got a kid on the way, you just got married, something I experienced when I left college about 20 years ago. You're trying to find a way to pay rent in order to, and also put money away for savings, and then begin to build your family. But if the cost of food is up, the cost of gas is up, the cost of rent is up, CPI is up overall, and it's year over year, you're falling behind consistently. You put that factor also with the way our tax system works. As you start earning more money in our economy, there's this thing called bracket creep. and it's devastating to somebody going up the income ladder. You put those two things together, you're falling behind. Joe Biden is not helping anybody in this country succeed.
You know, the other thing is the Trump boom versus the Bidenomics bust. I'm looking at real family incomes, okay, real median incomes. I mean, this is a direct, working folks, middle class, lower middle class working folks. Trump plus $6.4 thousand, $6,400 a family. We have it up on the full screen. I don't know if you can see it. I hope you can. But anyway, $6,400 a family increase under Trump. Under Biden, falling $4,000. That's a $10,000 plus differential. One's up and the other's down. And that's another thing. The liberal media may talk about how Biden is helping middle-class people. Biden talks about how he's helping middle-class people. He's not. So you add this. Incomes down, gasoline prices up, grocery prices up, interest rates up. I don't know. Mr. Trump yesterday when I interviewed him, Byron, he called it common sense. He had this line. He used it several times. Common sense policies to change all this. I think that's a pretty good way to look at it. We need some common sense policies, do we not?
100%. That's exactly what we need. Let's start with actually being energy independent and using the vast amount of resources. I know President Trump calls it liquid gold. The vast amount of resources our country has. We should be using that. If energy prices are down, families can get ahead. The only families that can get ahead in Joe Biden's economy are people who are rich, or maybe Hunter Biden, because he's shaking down countries all across the globe. And when you got money coming in like that, you're not worried about the price at the pump or the price in the grocery store. But you get energy prices down, then you worry about domestic production and food and other aspects like that. You get those prices under control. We're talking about price stability now. Now Americans have the ability to save more. If they choose to spend more, they can do that too. And then our economy has that internal or organic, innovative growth model that's critical to the future of our country and helping to find ways to pay down the national debt. That's the recipe, Larry. This is common sense stuff. It's very simple. But when you're an ideologue or an idiot like the current president of the United States, the only thing you're caring about are your fat cat buddies that you give these tax credits to for all this Green New Deal mess, and whether your son is going to be able to get more money out of Romania or Ukraine.
Well, Congressman, now that you mention it, you're a member of the Oversight Committee. Hunter Biden communicating with his father through emails and whatnot, and his father using a pseudonym, actually several pseudonyms. What do you make of this? What is this all about? And I guess I'm asking, what? I don't know about you, sir. I don't use pseudonyms. I have a name. I tend to use my name. Why is he doing this? What's this all about?
Well, we already know that Hunter Biden and Joe Biden have created this web of corruption. We've detailed it with the $20 million coming from all these companies across the globe. A lot of them are front groups for foreign countries, specifically China, but then also with Russia. We already know that. We know that Joe Biden was on the phone with these business people. He showed up at Cafe Milano for a couple of dinners. But now we know about these fictitious emails, these fake email accounts that Joe Biden is using, where he doesn't use his name because he doesn't want to get caught in corruption and pay for play schemes. Look, let's be very clear. Joe Biden knows what's going on, and it's going to be our responsibility in the House of Representatives to prove that. And I think that when we get access to these emails, hopefully he doesn't bit them like Hillary Clinton did. Hello, Merrick Garland. Pay attention to that one, by the way. He gave you a freebie. Hopefully he doesn't destroy this stuff, and so we can subpoena and finally paint a full picture for the American people. Joe Biden is corrupt. His family is corrupt. They've been making millions of dollars based upon him being at the top of our politics for a very long time. And in the middle of all this, the American family falls behind.
Well, Byron, you're referring to him as President Biden. I refer to him as President Biden. But I'm thinking we both have to, maybe it's President Robert Peters. How about President Peters? I mean, maybe it's time to change.
Yeah, you might be right about that one.
And I think he's got a couple others. I don't know. I haven't followed it because I've been focused on the Trump interview. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, you're a very smart guy. Maybe there's another president who did this. But pseudonyms? Really? Different? What is this, like a stage name? I'm just going to give you the last word on this, Byron Donaldson, because it's kind of funny, but it's also kind of really bad.
Listen, honestly, Larry, there's nothing funny about this. This is tragic for America. And for Fannie Willis down there in Atlanta, Georgia, hey, Fannie, this is actually what you bring a RICO charge for, because you have multiple people engaged to facilitate the selling of influence at the top of our politics. That is corruption. Let me help Fannie Willis out with that one as well.
Oh, you did. You absolutely made a constructive suggestion. Congressman Byron Donalds, the best of the best. Thank you ever so much for joining us here. Good luck. Have a great summer.